So my name's Josh, and I'm here to tell you about Rabid. Nice to see us up on the slide. We build engaging software products, and we build them for companies from the size of startups and social enterprises right through to large companies and government. We actively use an open source software stack. We contribute to open source projects, and our staff take 20% time to, in many cases, work on open source projects. We also contribute in the general open source community that's so vibrant in Wellington. I'm just going to take my time to tell you about a couple of projects that have really made this a great year for us. So we're an investor and we're the technology partner for PledgeMe, which is New Zealand's crowdfunding platform. PledgeMe had a particular milestone in that we were one of the first two companies to be regulated by the Financial Markets Authority as a startup for a brand new area of business which is equity crowdfunding. So New Zealand is one of the first countries in the world that companies can offer small amounts of capital to the public without going through the onerous compliance work and by virtue cost that has potentially held back startup funding. It's been a really wild ride being alongside a great CEO in Anna Gunther, who's just a born marketer and has really taught us a huge amount about what the internet can do. She set about starting first off on herself, and PledgeMe crowdfunded $100,000 in 24 hours, which we were pretty thrilled about. And then one of our first clients, the beautiful Yeasty Boys, who are absolutely fanatical about beer, doubled down on that and raised $500,000 to go to the UK for their business, and they did that in 30 minutes. So we had a lot of fun managing the servers while we were going through that. And now we're on a second cycle where people are really starting to see the potential of going and speaking to the public about what they want to do with their projects. We've got a 19-year-old indie who's raising money on PledgeMe right now, as well as a cohort of other great companies. He's 19 and funding his startup through the process. So that's a really exciting business to be a part of, and based out of Wellington. Oh, and during this latest campaign, during April, we just hit $5 million raised through our platform, so that was really wonderful. Second project that I'm delighted to tell you about is the New Zealand Sign Language Dictionary. And this is actually a project that we've had a bit part in, but in a great open source philosophy, many people have come together and made a really beautiful resource. So New Zealand Sign Language, if you're not from here, is an official language of Aotearoa New Zealand. It's distinct from British Sign Language, it's distinct from American Sign Language. There's a huge diversity of sign languages in New Zealand, in the world. The Victoria University of Wellington Deaf Studies Unit is the owner and facilitator of the Sign Language Dictionary. Its primary focus is as a learning dictionary for the vast numbers of people who have an interest in learning this new language or potentially need to learn the new language because of life changes that might result. It's on an open source stack and can give you video, general lexicography and information in New Zealand Sign Language. And I'm pleased to announce we're just in the process of open sourcing the web app. So in August, we're going to release that out on GitHub. Like all great projects, it's the work of many light hands. So there'll be a public repo for the web app. Dave Moskovitz created the underlying backend that manages the language architecture, and that's free and open source, and definitely seeking new contributions. You can get in touch with us if you'd be interested in making some improvements. The content itself is Creative Commons licensed, and I'd really like to give some praise to a volunteer, Greg Hugel, who created an Android app and an iPhone app using that Creative Commons licensed content. So there's a really beautiful ecosystem there. Mickey Vale is doing her PhD, helping to understand from the analytics data of how people are using this information. The Victoria University of Wellington Deaf Studies Unit is really inspirational, as is 3 Months, another Wellington development shop who are part of the original build. Thank you.